Okay, so this is the book that I read the past week. I was waiting for my daughter at the school. Um, it's not too bad. There are some good points on it and some questionable ones. Um, let's see. I think some of the good parts that it made, because trying to work on my mothering over here, is maybe I could just keep my mouth shut. Just keep it on shut and keep my opinions to myself. Because at this point, as my son is growing and getting older, you know, autism or not, he is coming around to where, you know, he's just developing a sense of himself, a sense of style, and a sense of opinion. And it just wouldn't hurt if I just shut the heck up, just shut the heck on up, A really good point, because, I'm talkative, and I know a lot of other women are talkative. Being mindful of how we communicate. I never thought about it, but as a woman, I really don't feel I am in a position to do or teach man stuff in a way, like I don't walk how they walk, I don't think how they think, I don't talk how they talk. Like it's just so different. And what I didn't come to think of is what the book points out is we teach our sons how to do the emotional stuff, because most moms are emotional, most women are emotional in general, especially those hormones and how the baby, everything. And the emotional aspect of teaching is from the mom. So it makes me want to check myself more and make sure, like, am I teaching my child the proper way? Like, I know I might not be serious, but they might not know that. Am I teaching them the proper way to communicate? Am I an example of proper words? This one says be softer, more patient and compassionate. And that's just, like something that I thought about. This part right here just goes over the stages of faith development, and it's like, oh, prayer, you know, just praying for the child, and stuff like that, because they do have to find their own way. You can baptize them in holy water from Jordan yourself, but it has to be their own personal journey. And I did learn in my own life, like, you can believe in God all you want until he try to take something from you, or something is lost, or there's something that you want. Either way, there's some wanting there. And that's usually what gets us, because are you willing to let it go, or are you willing to suffer for it? One of those tends to get us. If it ain't one, boy, it's the other. Um, this one, oh, practicing what you preach. Don't use fear. Don't regulate their relationships. I do think I have experienced that quite a bit in my life. I can honestly say I didn't see a lot of practice what you preach, just because of other things going on when I was growing up. But I can certainly say the regulate. The book also talks about not shaming your kids, and that's really true. It was a lot of shame growing up. That maybe there are some things I would have tried had there not been so much of that in the household, so much regulating, so much shame, no room to really grow and develop certain skill sets that may have been more out there. That just wasn't going to happen. Oh, this is just the part where it warns people about having mama's boys. So that's what this little part is about. The people, like, so the book warns you about, suffocating and coddling the boy, making sure that they're, out there trying things and all that stuff, how to let go of them, because pretty much if you do your job good enough as a parent, essentially your child's gonna be gone, off being an adult, off making their own choices. And that's the problem. If you do your job good enough, you'll work yourself out of a job. And I don't think a lot of us are prepared for that. I know I'm not. Like, I know eventually, I want him to be fine. God forbid something happens to me or anyone else. I want him to have that independence in himself. But it does bring awareness too, to, like, hey, just so you know, it specifically warns about women that make their sons their husbands, or like their fathers. That's not who they are, ma'am. That's your son. Now that I don't have a problem with. whatsoever. Yeah, I don't even come close. But for the women that got that issue, I gotta pray for you, because I know we say like people focus a lot on the men have emotions and stuff, and that's true. Regulating them and knowing how to deal with the good and the bad, because that's for humans in general. But I just think that's weird. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's weird. He's always gonna be my son. He's always gonna be my little boy. So to sit here and look at him like, I don't know, as if, oh, this my man, this my partner. No, that's gross to me. That's gross to me, and those moms should probably be looked into, because they're probably pushing boundaries that are not really respectable to your roles as a parent and a child. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, it has ideas for money management with clothes and stuff. Now, this one I thought was interesting, where the parent would give the kids money and then let the kids learn to budget the money so that they would value it. If they bought name brand clothes, well, they just had two pair of clothes, like that was it. So they learned to, I thought it was a cute little idea. Obviously this is for older kids, because the book does start, like in the beginning, it starts more with when they're young, like kindergarten and stuff. And then it goes into like adolescence, and then this is the part about like adolescents and adults. So as you can see, I was very curious about the future part. What is this? Oh, talking about the if neglected stuff. Now this was just a little poem that they had, like the poem if. I kind of liked it. I liked it a lot, about your virtue, keeping a calm in touch, being loving, calming but not too much. I thought it was really good. So I just marked that just cause. And control and how it can ruin stuff. So and I think that's very true. I think especially if you're trying to survive, you're a single parent, everything's going wrong. The rougher your life is, I was reading something somewhere where it said essentially the worse your situation, the more you're going to want to control more and more details of your life, essentially making you like a micromanager, and probably a bit aggressive, maybe even more masculine. And I do think that's a really good point to make, because the more scared you are, the tighter you grip. You know what I mean? If you're hanging on a cliff or a ledge, you're going to be holding on real tight, compared to if you're just, holding a rail and walking downstairs. You kind of just glide your hands over it. So yeah, long story short, this is what I read last week. Because, my goal as I get healthier and stronger is to be a more involved parent than what I've been able to do the past 2 years, just, 2-3 years. So this was the book I read. I got some more books from the library because they sell them for like $1 or $2 max. So let y'all know about that next book.